Hi everyone, this is Joy with Create It with Joy. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am so excited and so honored today that I have been able to make some projects using Yana Smakula's new Yana's Foiled Basics collection through Spellbinders. This is the Glimmer Hot Foil collection, and when she contacted me about making this project with her stuff, I literally about fell off my couch when I read the email. Was so excited. I am so honored. This was so much fun. Her line is really, really beautiful. If you haven't done Glimmer Hot Foil, you are definitely going to want to do it after this video. So let's get started. So the first thing that we're going to be doing is taping down this polka dot strip glimmer plate. And I'm taping that down in two spots, and I'm going to be adding some blue glimmer foil to this. This blue is from the metallic and holographic variety pack. I'm going to be cutting a long enough strip that goes underneath the whole glimmer plate. The reason why you want to tape down, and this is a Yana tip, is because once you've foiled this, when you lift up your glimmer plate, if it didn't foil perfectly, you don't have to worry about repositioning the glimmer foil plate. It's already taped down in position. You can add another piece of foil underneath, put your plate back on top. It's in the exact same spot, and heat it up and run it through your die cut machine again. So right now, the light is blinking on my hot foil system. As soon as that's done blinking, I'm going to pull it out of the dock, put my two plates on there with my paper shim in between, and you kind of have to play with that when you are foiling. So there's the top, and I'm going to run that through my Spellbinders Platinum 6 die cut machine, and you want to do it really slow. I go through and then come back. Go nice and slow so you can get good, even pressure. I'm going to dock it back in my station so it can continue to heat up, and you'll see here that some of them got a really good impression, but some of them didn't, so I'm going to need to refoil in certain areas. And I have one little spot that did a little bit of overfoiling, but I will show you how we fix that. It's so not a big deal. So I'm just trimming that up, another piece of foil, laying that down, and just putting my glimmer plate back on top. And I will do the same thing. And now you can see we've got a good foiled impression. I think there's one little spot on there, but I wasn't worried about foiling it again because I knew I was going to have flowers that covered it up. If I wasn't going to, I would have foiled it one more time. I'm using my Tombow Mono eraser and just erasing off there's like 3 or 4 spots that had a little bit of overfoiling, and that eraser takes it off perfectly. So that part of this card base is done. Now here is another glimmer plate, a part of her collection. This is called Foliage Border, and I'm going to be taking the flowers and the leaves, and we will be doing some hot foiling with these foil plates. The color I'm going to be using of glimmer foil is Aura. It's kind of a gold, and I'm going to be using colored cardstock and the same gold foil for the flowers and the leaves. This has kind of almost an iridescent look, as you can see when I'm kind of moving it around in the light there. Really is super pretty, and I really liked it on all the different colored cardstocks that I used. So the colored cardstocks that I used for this first card are from Cardstock Warehouse. I am going to be using Limeade for the leaves and Razzleberry for the flowers. I'm doing everything the same that I have been doing with the foiling process. I am going to do multiples of these flowers and these leaves. I'm not going to show the whole process because it's just the same thing over and over. Once I've done all of those, I am taking the coordinating dies, because there are some coordinating dies, which I think is fabulous, and I will be cutting out the flowers and the leaves for this first card. We're again running that through my die cut machine. When you're taping your die cuts down, do not get tape onto your foil because it can pull it off of your paper. So now that those are all die cut, I also did a sentiment, and the sentiment is from Spellbinders. It's Elegant Occasion Sentiments. Yana does have a sentiment pack of her own, which I've actually ordered, and I cannot wait for it to get here. And hers are really, really beautiful. So, but this is what I had on hand. And so this is going to be a thank you card. I popped that up on some foam tape. You could also use the coordinating die for the thank you sentiment and die cut that with fun foam or multiple pieces of paper to give it dimension. All three of those options are fantastic. So I'm laying out my flowers and my leaves. Some of them I'm going to be putting some foam tape behind for some more dimension. Some of them will be glued directly to this background cardstock. I also cut this piece of cardstock down about 1/4 of an inch on each side of each side's top and bottom. And then I will be adhering this to an A2 size white card base, and I really kind of like the white on white frame. I've really been into that. But as you can see, this card is super bright, super colorful. All this foil gives a nice shimmer and shine. Honestly, I cannot say enough about her collection, the few pieces that I have right now. And what I don't have, what was not gifted to me, I am definitely going to be purchasing. Really a lot of fun. I think she has some great ideas and I might need. But after you get that figured out, it really is super simple. I also did want to mention that I used the same Aura foil for the thank you sentiment. Kind of wanted to keep that sentiment kind of simple, but it also would be fun if you did a pink or a blue. You absolutely could get away with that. It's whatever look you're going for on your card. But I love how colorful this card is. And originally I was keeping all the flowers on one side, but I thought, you know, it would be fun to bring some of that pop of pink over to the white part of this card. And I love these beautiful flowers, and the leaves I think are quite pretty. So now I'm going to attach this to my A2 size card base. Again, this is a white A2 size card base. You could pop this back panel up on foam tape too if you wanted it to have a little bit more dimension, but I was fine without that. Then I'm going to add a little bit of pale gold Nuvo crystal drops in and around these flowers. I did have a darker gold, but I really wanted to keep it soft, and I think it actually matched this Aura foil really fantastically. So that first card is done, and isn't that so pretty? And look at all the foil and how it shimmers, and it shimmers different from each other. And it's really a super colorful card. I'm so happy with how this turned out. Okay, so on to our next card. Now I've taken a piece of white cardstock. I have trimmed it down about 1/8 of an inch on all sides. And I'm starting with the die cuts. And I'm going to die cut holes in this cardstock. Some of them are going to be off of the edge. These are the flowers. Some of them are going to be off of the edge. And I'm taking some of the leaves and overlapping it onto the flowers. So I'm going to cut into the flower. As you can see, it's kind of overlapping there. And that's so that way I can tuck my flowers and my leaves together. And you'll see what I mean when we get to this, because we're going to be inlaying these foiled flowers. So I'm just finding good positions. There's 3 different shaped leaves, 3 different sizes as well. And so I was just kind of playing with placement and trying to get an idea of how I want this to look when it all comes together. And sometimes I just do a couple die cuts at a time and then run it through the die cut machine. Again, overlapping, and you'll see what I mean when I tuck in the flowers, when I tuck the leaves in underneath the flowers. So you can start seeing that there is some shapes here. You can start seeing that how the flowers and the leaves are coming together. I'm going to overlap this larger flower over the other smaller flower that I already die cut. And then I'm going to work my way up to the top of the card, going at a diagonal. And I kind of wanted the bottom to be heavier with flowers and leaves than the top. So that's why I spread out the groupings a little more sparingly towards the top. Again, overlapping the leaves a little bit. You don't want them right next to it because then it would look like the leaves are floating out in space once you have everything in place. So for this cardstock, I am using grape jelly, which is the purple, and the same limeade for the green, and I'm going to be using the same Aura foil. And I'm going to foil a ton of these guys. I'm lining up my card panel to make sure everything fits on my card base. A couple of these flowers and leaves, because I die cut them off of the edge, the flower and the leaf will be past the top panel onto the card base. And you'll see what I mean in a minute, but that is really actually the look that I was going for. So peeling that off, and you've got some really beautiful flowers. I am using Lagoon also for the blue flowers from Cardstock Warehouse, and it's in the Star Dream collection, and it has a little bit of shimmer to it, and I think it turned out beautiful. I am popping this panel up on foam tape because we want this to have dimension. Once we put this down, we're going to inlay the flowers and the leaves into the white area of this background panel, and so the white background panel will be higher than the flowers, if that makes sense. I will be using some liquid glue to get everything adhered inside. So you can see that first flower on the right, it's the Lagoon color, and it goes a little bit past that top panel, and the leaves that I was gluing down right then also goes past that top panel, and that's exactly the look that I was going for. The rest of these, I'm going to lay down the leaves first, because then the flowers will go on top of it. So it looks like the leaves are growing out from a flower. So when you see that in any other stamps or in nature, that's how it looks. So that's why I overlapped the leaf die cuts onto the flower die cuts. I'm going to glue all of this in, push them in, and then I kept losing that little flower behind there. And this card is really starting to come together. I was so happy with how this turned out. I think it's really beautiful. Again, another card with a lot of white space. I don't know why I'm really so into that, but I think it turned out beautiful. So again, laying down the flowers first, the leaves, then putting the flower over it. And I'm just fitting them in like a puzzle. So I know how far the leaf goes in, or where the flower goes, because literally I'm fitting it in like a puzzle piece. And look at that, and you can see that there's some dimension there, and all that shimmer and shine really is so, so pretty. So now I've used a sentiment from the Elegant Occasion Sentiments. It says congratulations, and I did that in the same Aura foil, sorry, tongue twister. Die cut that out, and I'm using some foam tape behind it to give it dimension. And I did not plan this, you guys, but that sentiment could not have fit any more perfect into that center. Now I'm taking Nouveau Crystal Drops, well actually Glitter Drops in Aqua Mist and Jewel Drops in Sea Breeze. And I wanted to mimic that Lagoon color, but really kind of on a lighter scale, because I did not want to take away from the flowers, but I did feel like it needed a few other embellishments in and around this card. The Glitter Drops, the Aqua Mist has a lot of glitter to it, and the Jewel Drop is very light in color. It looks almost clear, but it has a hint of that blue. And now, can you guys see that dimension? I'm going to tilt it down so you can see the bottom, and you can see that the flowers are sunken in to the card. And it really looks beautiful. And all that glimmer foil is fantastic. And I think these flowers and leaves, like I said before on the other card, are absolutely gorgeous. Isn't that so pretty? Okay, you guys, for the last card, I am taking some paper from Cardstock Warehouse. This is called Anthracite, and it's in the Star Dream collection. The same as the Lagoon paper, it has a little bit of shimmer to it. This is also from Yana's Foliage Border set. And this is a circle, and it has like a double circle to it. I'm going to use the Aura foil. I am also going to use pink and silver sparkle. Here is the set. There's the circle. There's the little flowers that I used before. And then you have that sprig of flowers that I'm also going to be using on this card. Heating that up. Taking that off, and you can see that beautiful circle. It has that double circle. So now what I'm going to do next is I'm going to overlap foiling. And yes, you can do that. Just decide what color you want on top if that matters to you. It actually did not matter to me. So now here's that silver sparkle, and I'm going to take that, I'm going to overlap, and you're going to do everything exactly the same. Make sure you tape down your image so that way it kind of has a hinge basically. So if you didn't get a perfect foiled image, you can line it right back up. So that's lined, it's lined up. I'm going to run that through my die cut machine after it's all heated up, and now you can see that beautiful overlapped foil. I'm going to be adding a few more circles to this. I'm not going to show you all of them, but I am going to add some pink to this. After I was done, I thought, oh my gosh, this would be a great guy card had I used blue or a different color other than pink, just because of the tone of this card. But I'm going to add some pink to this, and I thought the pink would be really pretty with this kind of charcoaly gray background cardstock. And I do have to say, foil on these shimmer cardstocks are stunning in person. I don't know if you can get a great view of it on the camera, but it is absolutely gorgeous. So again, I'm going to add some more circles. And as you can see, I've done all the circles that I wanted to do. And now I'm going to add this glimmer plate that's got flowers and leaves on it. I'm going to be doing it in pink, and I'm lining it up right to that circle. I'm going to be taping it down, making sure to not tape on any existing foil, because again, that can lift the foil up off the paper. Using pink, lining that up, I'm going to tape this down again so it does not flop over, because it's a pretty heavy glimmer plate. I will have to foil this again. There was a couple tiny little spots that just did not get quite enough foil on it. So again, that's perfect that I taped that down. So I'm just going to get another pink. Sorry about my head, you guys. Get another pink piece of foil, lay that down, put that back on, let it heat up, run it through my die cut machine again, and then I will have a perfectly great foiled image. So now I'm doing that on the opposite side of the circle, lining that up. And this is going to foil over the other pink circle and a silver circle. And when we pull this back, I did have to foil this side again, because again, there was a couple spots that weren't foiled, but foiled it again and it was perfect. So now I'm using a sentiment again from the Elegant Occasion Sentiments from Spellbinders that says Happy Birthday, and I am using the silver sparkle for this sentiment. And I'm going to heat that up, and then I will use the coordinating dies. And this was a bigger sentiment, so I did tape it down in case I needed to run it through again. But it came out perfect. Taping down my coordinating die and running that through my die cut machine, taking care to not tape on the foil. Now I'm going to adhere this background piece, which I trimmed down slightly smaller, like a quarter of an inch, or excuse me, an eighth of an inch on each side, onto a white card base. I thought the white would stand out beautiful. And then we're going to adhere down the sentiment using some foam tape again. I'm popping that up in the center of that circle. Of course, making sure it's straight. No one wants a crooked sentiment. And then I'm going to be using Nouveau Crystal Drops in silver lining. And I'm just going to add a few dots because this card is fairly busy with all the circles and the florals. And this one is done. Really super simple. I loved overlapping this foil. I think it's a great technique and it was so much fun. I have had such a blast with Yana's hot foil basics. I've just had such a good time. Thank you guys so very much for stopping by. I hope you enjoyed this card. I hope it inspires you to create. I hope you want to go out and get this Glimmer Hot Foil collection. I just want to say thank you so much to Yana for letting me use her products to make a project. I am just very honored and very humbled by that. Thank you guys for everything. I do have some affiliate links below. It costs you nothing, but it does continue to help me. So thank you, and I'll see you soon.